So you may recall I did a video not too long ago saying the Spaniards have chosen social justice. In fact, the new president, and the party leader said that they were going to advocate for social justice. And sure as shit, it didn't take them more than, what, a week, if that, to implement social justice policies. Actually, it wasn't necessarily the government, but in the United States, public schools are run by the government. There is private schools too, but they cost money, and I don't feel like paying them. The public schools are just as good, in my opinion. Private schools, I don't know. I don't feel that knowledge should be brokered, in my opinion. I think knowledge should be open, which is why I love an open and free internet. But anyways, that didn't take long now, did it? No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
A school in Catalunya, Spain, has withdrawn from its library 200 classic books, classic children's books, such as Sleeping Beauty, Little Red Riding Hood, because their depiction of sexist stereotypes. After analyzing the contents of its library for children up to the age of 6, the management of Tabor School in Barcelona found that around a third of its stories were toxic. They were afraid of that toxic masculinity from classic children's stories. All of these stories, interestingly enough, come with a moral argument and what would be called a fable. So they have a moral to their story. There is a purpose and a moral to that story. But you know what? That moral is toxic. It's reverse thinking. And that only 1/10 of its books were written from a gender perspective, as if that had anything to do with a story. Especially children's stories. But you know what? You could always ask that dipshit that writes queer kid stuff and thinks that she's advocating for social justice, trying to educate people about sex at the age of 6, which is equally disgusting. When you place your identity politics around your sexual preference, you end up with some really twisted fucking stuff. Yes, that shit exists. I'm going to wait until my kids hit puberty and start to address people as they're interested in doing something more than just being friends, like kissing, before I have those conversations. But no, these people want to take that away from me. It's not a parent's job. It's obviously society's job to appropriately address these issues and educate our children properly. And that's why in Spain, socialism has won, and they've already started to ban books. Ban books.
Gods! Yes! This means war! Yes!
Who called that? I'm pretty sure I fucking called that. It's only a long road to ruin, and I've taken a particular fanciful interest in Spain in particular. Why? I don't know. I think it's because they announced that the Socialist Party won and that they're going to advocate for social justice. So this is going to be a test bed where social justice warriors, socialism, and a government mix together to form what they want, a complete power control over a population. So now they can moral police until the cows come home. They have turned into 1942, which I'm sure is a book that has also been banned in Spain. I'm sure we could look that up and probably find it, that they're not going to want to read their playbook. Of course not. It doesn't make sense. Why would you allow somebody to know exactly what you're planning on doing, which is controlling their minds through the control of speech? Anta Tutzo, who was on the commission that looked at the book, said gender bias also pervade fairy tales, and that gender roles in society are not being reflected in stories. When were they written? Did anyone bother to ask this question to this dumbass? When were they written? If they were written well over 50 to 100 years ago, like some of these, like Little Red Riding Hood is actually a pretty fucking old story. Sleeping Beauty, equally as old of a story. Well, actually, it's probably a little bit younger. But I'm sure Hansel and Gretel are now banned as well, because that's a children's novel. They only kept 1/10 of their fucking books, and they purged 200 classical books. So you can think of all the classical stories that you grew up with as a child. Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, Princess Bride, probably. Who knows?
It's a thorn in our side. It must be got rid of. I can't afford to let it remain.
The classic legend of Saint George, which a man is the hero and the woman is a sacred princess, it was also among the stories removed, despite its status as a key story read at regional festivals in Catalonia on St. George Day. So a true story where a man, St. George, rescues a woman from peril, I'm assuming, is banned. So being courageous, chivalrous, honored, and powerful, and courageous, all the positive things that are non-toxic. Oh wait, no, those are toxic, my bad. Toxic masculinity is anything that is masculine. So any of those things are obviously toxic, so of course that needs to be removed, because a woman can be powerful too. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Actually, that's kind of true. I did wrestle with the jiu-jitsu girl tonight who almost put me in 2 arm bars, but I later found out she had an injury or she would have wrecked my ass. Even Ronda Rousey, one of the badass women of MMA, one of the ones that I hate because of her, no, I have to take that back. I used to hate her because of her attitude. I thought she had a sick, disgusting, like, I am God attitude, and then she got her ass beat twice in a row, and she humbled herself. But before that, she knew that if she stepped in the ring with Conor McGregor or any of the other weight class divisions that she's in, she'd get her ass handed to her, and she knew it. Because men are physically stronger, even at the same weight, than women. It is a natural thing. Get the fuck over it, feminists. Seriously. Anyways.
How dare you challenge me with your so-called kung fu? You don't have a chance.
Tutso told El Paz, whatever the fuck that is, that such stories played into stereotypes linking masculinity with courage, and she wanted children to think that critically about the tales they were being told. Masculinity is linked with courage. However, that does not negate a woman from also being courageous, because they could also exhibit this trait. Therefore, it is an androgynous trait, not a masculine trait. You've just mischaracterized a stereotypical attribute that is used to apply to everybody. Good fucking job. This is why you shouldn't be in charge of banning books. I'm just saying. Also, in its violent situations, even though there are just small pranks, as it is the boy who acts against the girl, this sends a message about who can be violent against whom. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. You're actually missing half the point. This is the problem with you stupid-ass social justice warriors. You read the first half of the story and say, oh my god, that is so sexist, it's horrible. And then you miss the fucking moral of the story. It is fucking amazing. This is why I hate you bully little bitches. Every single time something happens in a situation, you cry wolf. And what I mean by that is, oh my god, he raped me. Oh my god, he's a Nazi. Oh my god, he's a sexist. Oh my god, he's a something or other. That's bullying behavior, and ironically so, it is effeminate bullying behavior, which is why I hate it. I hate all kinds of bullies. That, applied to the fact that you keep calling everybody something like this, means that no one fucking believes you. That was the moral of the story. But, since you guys only read half the fucking novel, you probably believe that the boy who cried wolf just kept on telling people, look, there's all these Nazis around and nobody believes me. Why doesn't anybody believe me? All these fucking Nazis are around. Just a clue. You kind of prop up the Nazis doing that, although there isn't any. I'm not going to concede that point. There is no fucking Nazis. They're all goddamn dead. The last one that I know of that just got kicked out of New York was like 90 years old. The dude was born in 1906 or some shit like that. He was 20, I think, when he joined the Nazi Party and was a guard at one of the gas chamber sites, which is pretty fucking atrocious considering he lived in a Jewish neighborhood, which was equally as fucking scary. But I guess, hide among your enemies. It's the best way to stay unnoticed. It's just insane. I knew Spain was going to go down this road, but apparently they decided to take a big fucking leap forward.
I think that you have a bit too much confidence for someone who is a beggar.
To give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, fairy tales have for a long time been the center of criticism over what kinds of messages about what gender roles they give children. The only people giving these criticisms is intersectional feminists with zero basis in reality. They've redefined stereotypes. They've redefined power structures. They've redefined a shit ton of words to fit their narrative, put their holy books together in what you would call a journal article, or journal in general, pretended it to be academia, which is actually kind of the same thing other religions do, because at the time of their formation, they too pretended like as if they were sages. They were the ones that knew the knowledge. They were the architects of thought, if you will. And really, they were just pushing another ideology using sophistry, just like the new people. I mean, it's a reoccurring pattern. It has happened every single time a major religion has come out. Somebody claims to be an arbiter of truth and knowledge. They put forth their ideas. A shit ton of people buy it for whatever reason, usually on emotional or moral grounds, and then it just takes off. Intersectionality is no different. Sarah Hall from Newcastle, England, last year was inspired by the Me Too movement campaign. Oh, great. To demand Sleeping Beauty be removed from her 6-year-old son's curriculum. Oh, yeah, because, let me see, non-consensual kissing, I guess, so it's rape in your eyes, which is fucking stupid. It's a specific issue in the Sleeping Beauty story that about sexual behavior and consent. It's about saying it is irrelevant. Is it appropriate? Let me put it this way. The girl was in a coma that was drug-induced. The only way to wake her up was through breaking the curse. True love's first kiss, I believe, was their request. Well, she fell in love with the prince and then had to be woken up with the prince. No other person could have removed her from her coma. So you would have chosen, in this situation, because this is a fairy tale that you decided to pick on, that it is far better for a person to remain in a coma than to have a kiss that she may or may not have consented to without knowing. Knowing full well that she knew that a kiss would wake her ass up, so of course she's going to want it, I would assume, if she didn't want to stay asleep for the rest of her life, which means she would have died, because if you think of the age of when this was told, she basically was like asleep for a day, maybe 2. She wasn't in prison for years, it was a day. If she were to be asleep for more than 7 days, she'd be dead. So in other words, it would be more appropriate for this woman to die than to get a kiss from a prince to save her life. That is literally the moral you are trying to pass to your children. Because the moral of the story is, it's far better to break the curse and be a valiant person that fought all odds to get to the person you love to rescue them than to let them suffer for all eternity. That is the moral of the story, and you just threw it the fuck out the window because, oh my god, sexist it's just so stereotypical. Oh Jesus, they have non-consensual kissing. That's like rape from the Me Too movement. Yeah, you're inspired by stupidity is what you're inspired by. You don't know the fucking moral of the story, so what do? Spit on it. Why not? It doesn't make any sense to you. You probably didn't grasp the fucking moral in the first place. Oh, look at this. There's some additional bits at the end here. In 2017, schools in the Australian state of Victoria were a part of a respectful relationships curriculum in which children were taught to think critically about fairy tales and question the gender roles they contain. So they didn't necessarily ban the books, but they wanted to take a critical theory lens to the fairy tales. In other words, ignore the moral of the story. Is this the way a man should act? Is this the way a girl should act? What if the roles were reversed? Could a woman do this too? That none of that fucking matters. It's a moral of the story that matters. That's the reason why they existed. Red Riding Hood, for example, don't trust strangers. They may fucking kill you. What stops a stranger and somebody that breaks into your home to kill you? somebody else with a bigger fucking weapon. That's Little Red Riding Hood there. Don't trust strangers. They may be setting you up later. Because she trusted a stranger and told that stranger where she was going, that stranger went and killed her grandma and then tried to kill her. And the only thing that saved her ass was the next door neighbor. That is the fucking moral of Little Red Riding Hood. But sexist stereotypes, throw it out the fucking window. Isn't that brilliant? You guys are so goddamn stupid that it hurts to listen to you sometimes. So I'm going to link this article in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit annoying, but you know what? I heard that Spain was going full social justice warrior with full socialism. So I figured, you know what would be fun? If I cataloged their demise and just watch all the weird, crazy shit that they do in Spain. My Spanish is a little bit wrecked, so I may have to use a translator from Google, and I apologize. I'm not that great at Spanish anymore. I don't remember most of it. That shows you how much I actually used it.
Maybe I'm not qualified, but I've been nominated to try. So that's what I'm going to do.
I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope the social justice warriors get their ass handed to them in the end, because really all they're out to do is wreck the entire planet in an effort to perpetuate their religion. Just like every other fucking religion that has ever existed before them. They want dominance and they want power, and they'll use any means to get it. In this case, they've confused people to thinking that they're doing moral goods when in fact they're doing irreprehensible. God damn it, I can't even say that word. Irreparable. There we go. Irreparable harm. Wow, that was fun. All right, thanks. Like, subscribe, all that shit, whatever. See you next time.
Young fella, you're quite smart, but not smart enough for the likes of me.